This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and this is the Samsung Galaxy Tab S10 Plus FE. FE, by now you know, stands for Fan Edition. In other words, that mid-range tablet that means to be more affordable than, well, the top-of-the-line Galaxy Tab S10, S10 Plus, and so on, at a price that's more competitive, something like the iPad Air. We're going to look at it now. So the FE edition, as ever, comes in two sizes, and it's $500 or $650 for the larger one, which obviously comes in a couple $100 cheaper than the current iPad Air. Also, making it more affordable for those of you who are interested in the pen is the S Pen is included in the box, which is the usual Wacom EMR technology. In other words, a really excellent pen technology. So those of you who are budding artists or even devotees of note-taking would appreciate the pen on this. The smaller one is 10.9 inches, call it 11 inches really, and the larger one that we have here, the Plus, is 13.1 inches, making it a pretty big tablet, but it's still got that kind of rectangular, more long and narrow aspect ratio, so it doesn't feel as humongous as you might think. There's not a whole lot of height to it. The display is an LCD at this price range, unlike the higher-end OLED models that Samsung offers, which, by the way, start currently, they're on sale, starting around $879 and going up from there depending on the configuration you want, so that's how much money you're saving. Anyway, standard LCD display, 800 nits of brightness, bright enough, in other words, to be usable even in very bright indoor lighting. Outdoor, it's okay, you know, it's not crazy like some phones that go to 2,000 or 3,000 nits, but hey, it's not bad. It's a pleasing looking display. It doesn't have the shock and awe of OLED, but it's nice enough. If you're watching movies or something like that on it, you're going to say, oh, that's a nice, pleasant experience. So it's not bad by any means. 5G is an option, but only on the smaller one. The same was true last year. Why this is, I don't know. There is a little pokey hole that you can pop out, looks like a SIM card tray, and on the larger one it just holds the micro SD card. Yes, it has a micro SD card slot, so yay that for expandable storage for those of you who don't want to pay more. You can get it with 256 or 512 gigs of storage and either 8 or 12 gigs of RAM. The more RAM goes with the more storage model on these. One thing that stands out, just like last year's model, is it's IP68 dust and water resistant. You don't see that often in tablets, and the iPad Air can't do that. So for those of you who cook with it, it's in the kitchen, it's getting splashed all the time. You use it in the bathtub, you know, that sort of thing. It can handle it. So that is a nice peace of mind right there. We have a new Exynos processor inside, and yes, it is faster than last generation Exynos, which is a welcome thing because it's a very mid-rangey processor. The tablet, look and feel and build, aluminum and all that sort of thing, super thin, weight's pretty manageable at 1.46 pounds. Those things feel pretty premium for something mid-range, but the Exynos that they're using in this is decidedly still mid-range. Maybe faster than last year, but it's the multi-core on Geekbench, for example, is 3 times faster on an iPad Air, and the graphics are 5 times faster. So that means that this is for everyday use, for streaming, for, you know, looking at your photos, doing some photo editing, it's fine. You can do some video editing on it too, but if you're really a hardcore gamer, you probably want a more powerful processor. You may see some stutters, that sort of thing. Depends on the game you're playing. If you're playing something totally casual, then not so much. If you're playing a 3D racing game, something like that, well then, you know, Call of Duty Mobile, it plays okay, but you get the idea. So that's why it is the middle child in the lineup of Samsung products, right? Software is good on this. You get 7 years of OS and security updates on this. You get Android 15 and One UI 7, no doubt soon to be updated. And that is a plus for these tablets, honestly. Yeah, even sometimes compared to the iPad, honestly, like the multi-window multitasking that Samsung does with One UI is just great. The Edge panels on for quick launching applications, really well done. And you have Samsung DeX, which you use directly on the tablet. The USB port does not support MHL, so there's no display out on it, so it's on device only, but it gives you a desktop-like experience when you want to feel like you're doing real work and you pair it with a keyboard, that sort of thing, a keyboard case, and it can be a laptop stand-in for productivity sort of uses for sure. Cameras on this, pretty good, you know, I mean, tablets usually do have decent cameras compared to, say, laptops for sure. You're going to look a lot better in Zoom calls with this than you would with the average laptop. 12 megapixels on the front, 13 on the rear, both can do 4K at 30 frames per second, and they're, like I said, that's a selling point, obviously, to this day, when we still do a lot more Zoom calls than we used to. So that's the Samsung Galaxy Tab 10 Plus FE edition, and also available as a 10 if you don't want the 13-inch, you prefer the almost 11-inch size tablet. And it's always hard being mid-ranger, right? Because it doesn't have the wow shock in all prices, but it's not like a super bargain price thing. You know, this is not like an Amazon tablet or something like that by any means, but it is a good solid offering. The biggest challenge here isn't just the iPad Air, which I mean is a couple $100 more money, so that stands in this favor, but there is the tablet app ecosystem on iOS, which will always, well, or iPadOS, which will always be a plus there, but it's Samsung's own upper range tablets. Now, while the Samsung Galaxy Tab 10 family may be $300 more money than this, so, or approximately, you know, you can get the S9 high-end tablets for just like $50 to $100 more. And in that case, I would probably recommend those, but those are not going to stay on the market forever. Samsung's selling the smaller one only, the 11-incher. They're not the bigger models anymore directly. So while those are still available, they're worth looking at. But when they're not, well, this is certainly not bad for the price. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more cool tech videos, and thumbs up if you like this vid.